These Super Snakes just as legendary as the GT500s. With that ZH2 name, you do get that supercharged 1000cc engine. It's a full freaking screen, guys. This one does have that pearl finish with that white paint. Now, people really love these old school boxy BMWs. All right, guys, so coming into the actual expo, and I think there are going to be different portions to this expo. We do have basically just all of the new up and coming vehicles that are going to be coming from the different manufacturers. We do have a Volkswagen over here. Now, I'm not entirely sure what these cars are. When it comes down to it, guys, I do more of the performance car stuff, not a whole lot of the new car stuff, but I think that some of you guys might get a kick out of what some of these newer 2024, 2025 cars have to offer, especially the older viewers that I have on my channel. We do have another Volkswagen. This one is a GTI. Looks like it does come with a manual trans still. Looks pretty sick. I love the color on it, and it's sort of like purple. That is beautiful. It's not going to show on camera, but it is a really, really nice color nonetheless. And we do have some Acuras over here. We're just going to sort of skim by a lot of this stuff just so that you guys can kind of see sort of like the whole new models and stuff that are going to be coming out. And I think there are going to be some high performance cars in the another section of the building. One thing that I have been loving is this new Acura. I think this is a Type S. I absolutely love these, man. They look freaking insane. And coming straight from Acura with this kind of like wide body design that they have. Now, I saw one of these at a Cars and Coffee event, and I thought, and it is a Type S. I see the badging on the side fender now. I thought that this was actually I thought it was a kit that somebody had put on their Acura. But this is actually insane, and you can see it does have a manual trans in there as well. So I bet this thing is some fun to drive. Swinging over this way, we do have our luxury. Oh, they just did a little light display for us. Swinging over this way, we do have our luxury division. This is one of your Mercedes. We got some BM, some Beamers and all that. But I am a fan of the interior on this Mercedes. You can tell that it's going to have heating and ventilation in the seats. I'm assuming it may also come with some type of massage function. I'm a real big fan of the frameless doors. And look at the ambient lighting on that. It's a full freaking screen, guys. Like, this is what is going on nowadays in the car industry, just like a screen. And my Maxima has a full dash. So it's just kind of crazy to see. Now, of course, the ambient lighting in here does add to the ambiance. Smells like that new car smell. Got the white carpeting. Absolutely love it. Now, I'm sure that might not be too fun, too clean. I'm sure it gets real, real dirty. Nevertheless, I think this is a very, very, very nice model. I'm not sure what it's called. I have to see if I can get a name on it. It looks like it's going to be a C65 or something like that, maybe. And you guys can also see how the door handles actually pop out. I'm assuming whenever the car is locked, those door handles are actually flush with the car. So I bet that's a pretty cool feature to see in action. We do have an AMG GT 63. I love it. And the new badge that they have, I'm not sure if this is new or not, the AMG badge, that looks pretty cool. I don't think I've seen that before. Now, you guys know I am more of a fan of the GTR, the AMG GTRs, but these right here, I'm sure that they probably cost a little bit less. They probably offer similar performance. Of course, the body on them isn't the same. Nevertheless, this looks awesome, and I would hop into some of these, but I do have my book bag on. Might be a bit of a hindrance to have to go and remove it and take it all off. I always love the actual air vents on these Mercedes. Looks really, really nice on the interior. Of course, you do get a hatch in the back. This thing is really, really nice. I think I'm in love with this one, guys. Swinging over this way, we do also have the e-tron GT by Audi. Now, these right here, of course, are fully electric. I'm a big fan of the body style on these. I'm not a big fan of electric cars, but I do like the body style on these e-trons. And I'm assuming that they probably also have a bit more of a higher performance aspect to them as well. You would think with these e-trons that you would get soft touch close, but I guess not, because it looks like that door is still cracked open a little bit. Now the driver's side door is open, so we do have the opportunity to swing over here, take a look at the interior on it. Real nice. Do got a little bit of ambient lighting. Now over here, guys, we do have the big section. Like over in the other section we were in, it was mainly just luxury cars. You got the Lincolns, the Mercedes and stuff. And here you can see there's a vast majority of stuff. But real quick, wanted to start off with this Camaro. I don't think this is going to be a special edition or anything like that. I do see the Virginia International Raceway on the hood. Over this way, of course, we do have a Bronco. Now, I did do a review on one of these Broncos. I think the one I did was the Raptor version, and I think that these are some pretty fire cars. This one does have the Wild Track package. You see, it does have the beefy tires up there. I think those are either going to be 33s or 35s. A lot of you guys that are more into the off-road stuff can probably know just off of the sizing and how it looks compared to the vehicle, what size it is. But this green, it's not going to do it justice on camera, but this green looks absolutely insane. That's one thing about the Broncos that I'm a big fan of, is the fact that you can take off everything, the top, windows. You can take off the doors also, I believe, and have just sort of like a full-fledged open air experience, which is really cool. Coming down this way, guys, we're getting more into my style of stuff. Now, first and foremost, we need to take a minute to appreciate this Cadillac. I think it's more than likely going to be an EV because I don't see an actual grill up here. I see a fake grill. But nevertheless, the styling on it is pretty cool. And then coming over here, we got this beautiful Porsche, buddy. Now, this one does have that Speedster nameplate assigned with it. This whole top portion does come off and go back on. You can actually put a roof on this thing. So I think that is actually pretty cool. And I've seen these in action. This whole portion that you see outlined comes off. It's really nice. And I love the rims on this. Absolutely love the rims. That is a nice finish on those rims. Now swinging over here, we do have a Mercedes-Benz. It is a 190 SL. Now, I'm not familiar with these at all. Nevertheless, real nice spec. But we do have a Martini livery with this Porsche 911. Now, I'm assuming this is probably going to be a turbo model. You can see it does have the 3.8 liter instead of that 4.0 that we know and love. Swinging over this way, we got some of the more real high-end stuff in this SVJ. So high-end, in fact, that they actually put some roping around it. Now, it would be real bad if somebody came, tripped, knocked one of these stanchions over, and it fell into the car. That wouldn't be fun at all. The SVJs, in my personal opinion, are really cool. I like the SVs a lot better as far as body styling, as far as rarity. I just like those a little bit more than I like these, but still real nice spec. And every time you see these cars in person, the presence on it is insane. Like, it's so much wider than you would expect, so much wider. And then of course we do have the 488 Pista. This one does have that pearl finish with that white paint. I'm sure that you guys can see beautiful finish to this 488 Pista. And I think this might be this section might be the only section where they actually have the high end cars. Now, I haven't had the opportunity to review a 488 Pista yet. Did an SF90. I will get one of these on the channel if you guys actually would like to see it. Swinging over here, guys, we do have this beautiful finished in red McLaren, and I think this is a 650S if I'm not mistaken. Looks similar to the MP 412C. I think that's the name of that McLaren. They have some weird names to a lot of their cars, but this one right here, love it. I like it a little bit more than the 570S. Of course, it comes with a little bit more power, and this one, the finish on it, I think is second to none. Really, really nice. And then we have an older school M3. Now, people really love these old school boxy BMWs with the wide fenders on them. They're growing on me a little bit. The more and more that I see them, the more and more that I start to appreciate them. Of course, the rims on this one, immaculate. And yeah, the more and more I see these, the more and more I'm starting to like them. I'm not a big BMW guy, but this one right here is doing it for me. Now, guys, they do have a new power sports section over here as well. And they just so happen to have the next bike that I'm going to be getting now. As you guys know, I do plan on upgrading from my FZ10. And I think this is probably going to be the route that I end up going. I was trying to decide between this, the Street Fighter V4, and maybe like a Triumph. But I think this is going to be the route that I end up going when I decide to trade mine in. I'm not going to get a 2024 model. It'll probably be something a little bit older. But you're still going to get that same sort of styling. You're going to get that same performance. You guys can see right here, this one is the SE ABS, so it has all the functions and everything that you might want. And I'm just so glad I got to see one of these in person. It's been a long time since I've seen one. Fortunately, we can't actually get on it, sit on it, see how it's going to be. But you can see it does come with the cruise control settings. It comes with your different drive modes. I'm assuming you're also going to have some real nice stuff to adjust suspension in that gauge cluster that's up there. And of course, with that ZH2 name, you do get that supercharged 1000cc engine straight out of the ZH2. Looking at it here in person, a lot of people don't like the styling of it. I think the stylings of it's pretty nice, especially if you can get a windscreen for this naked style. You can get a windscreen to kind of help with the wind, then you'll be in pretty good shape. Now, one thing that I did like about my Z900 before I traded in and got my FZ10, one thing I liked about my Z900 is that with these bikes, these Z bikes, you kind of sit in the bike. Like, you guys can see kind of like how deep you're sitting into the actual bike with these Z bikes versus on my FZ, you're sort of sitting on top of the bike. The seat's a little bit more flat. Swinging over this way, guys, we do have a few more highlights of the show. Now, of course, with this being an Expo, they're trying to get off some of these newer models. That's the one downside of all the newer models, is a lot of stuff is electric. A lot of stuff you really just don't have a lot of interest in if you're a legit car person. We're going to just try to stick to some of the highlights. We do have a GT500. Now, these came out in 2020. You can see this one does come with those carbon wheels, and I absolutely love it. I think it looks sick. Of course, it saves you a little bit on weight. We haven't had the opportunity to review a 2020 model. We have done the previous generation model GT500. I think that's like the 2012, 2013 model, and I loved it. Thought it looked really, really cool. Loved the performance numbers. I think 662 horsepower. You get that supercharged V8, so real nice. But with this one, coming back to it, of course, we do have this massive carbon wing up here, and I'm sure this one right here probably costs a pretty penny, because it looks like whoever owns this one, whoever spec'd it out, they went with all the beans on it. They gave it every option that they possibly could. Now, we do have a C4 Corvette over here as well. Now, for them to have this in this space, I think it's probably going to be a little bit more of a special edition car. It is a Grand Sport. This one does come with that sort of Grand Sport livery that you're accustomed to seeing, with either the stripes on the fenders or some type of funny business with the paint, so to speak. And I think this thing looks absolutely insane. And you do get the black rims with it. Now, I'm not entirely sure how the engine package is set up on these Grand Sports versus the base model. I know with some of these newer Corvettes, the C6 is a little bit different. The Grand Sport gets virtually the same engine as the base model. So I know that with the C6, there was a bit of time where they did the LS2. I know that the Grand Sports got the LS3s, but I'm not entirely sure about these C4s. And you can see this one does have a manual trans, which in my personal opinion is the only way that you should be getting a performance car. Now we do have a 427. I think this is going to be a C2, if I'm not mistaken. Trying to get more and more in tune with the older stuff. Nevertheless, I love this body style. The 427, the engine that it has in it, absolutely massive engine. Get a lot of power, a lot of torque out of it. This one does not have the side pipes that we're accustomed to seeing on some of the Corvette models that look similar to this one. Nevertheless, it is a really, really nice spec. Now, we also have a Boss 302, and these, in my personal opinion, are probably one of the coolest Mustangs, especially from that old school era. Now, I'm looking at it on camera. It comes across, at least from my point of view, is a little bit yellow, but in reality, it is a green color. We do have that shaker style hood right there, front and center. I love these Bosses, man. These Boss 302s, absolutely sick. And even like the next generation, I like those just as much. You don't see them too often. I'm not entirely sure how rare this car is, but I know that with these Bosses, man, legendary status, in my opinion. We do have a Zook. Now, people absolutely love these trucks in the States. I have seen numerous accounts of guys on YouTube with these trucks driving as fast as they can, slamming on the brakes, and then the whole truck tilting up, sort of like landing on this front bumper area. So I've never had the opportunity to see one of these, and I've definitely never had the opportunity to get in it and sort of test it out. I don't think I would fit being 6'5", but nevertheless, this is a real nice spec. You can see they do have the white wheels on this one. I'm sure that it's probably been restored. I don't think it's been kept like this forever, but it does look really nice. Wrapping up with some of the more nicer stuff that they have in here, we do have a Super Snake, Shelby Super Snake. Absolutely beautiful car. You can see it does have the Kara Shelby memorabilia in there as well. These Super Snakes, in my personal opinion, are probably just as legendary as the GT500s. Now, I'm not sure about power numbers for this Super Snake. I'm not sure what kind of power they make, if it's going to be similar to the GT500s, if it's more or less. But from a styling standpoint, from a stylistic standpoint, I really like the styling on these Super Snakes, especially that hood. It gives it just a real nice, more so beautiful look. And then, of course, we do have the much underappreciated Z06. These motors, 650 horsepower, 650 pound-feet of torque from that LT4. For whatever reason, people just don't appreciate the C7 Z06s like I think they should, man. I mean, you get a supercharged V8, over 600 horsepower, absolutely beautiful and insane styling. You would just think people would appreciate them a little bit more. This one right here does come with the manual trans, and I'm not sure if it comes with this guitar as well. But I'm sure that there's probably a bit of a backstory to it. I can see the guitar does have the Z06 badging on it. So if anybody knows what that guitar is all about in relation to the Z06 Corvette, you guys let me know down in the comments. Sticking with the GM section, we do have a Hummer EV. Now, like I said, I'm not a big EV guy, but you guys let me know if you would like to see a review on one of these Hummer EVs. Now, I was assuming that the Hummer EVs only came with like a pickup type bed. At least that's how I had always seen them. And maybe I'm just remembering it wrong. But this is the first time that I believe I've seen a Hummer EV in this sort of SUV style. And the thing is so big, it's almost impossible to fit the whole thing in the frame without standing like 10 feet away from it. Like, it's freaking huge. I had no idea that they were that big, but I think with these EVs, you get over 1,000 horsepower. Of course, it's coming from electric motors. So your range, if you're going to be towing or if you're going to be flooring it all the time, of course, is going to suffer a little bit more so than if you had a gas engine. Now, I'm not much of a truck guy, but I can appreciate a truck, a nice truck when I see it. And this Intruder looks like it might be by Dodge or Ram. Yeah, this Ram Intruder is sick. This thing is pretty tall. I've been having the phone at my eye level this whole time, but I'm gonna have to raise it up a little bit just so you guys can get a look at the engine bay. Now, of course, you do get this blacked out trim, real nice. Not sure how big these tires are. Look like they might be 35s. Huge. Now, if you're trying to put stuff in the bed comes up to about my waist. So I'm not sure how much luck you would have trying to put stuff in here. Then we got right beside it that good old Dirty Max Z92, which is about the same height as it's a little bit shorter than the Intruder, but it still has that really nice suspension setup on it. Big fan of these Silverados. You guys, like I said, you know, I'm not much of a truck person, but I can appreciate a truck when I see it. These Silverados are sick. We can actually open the door and look at it. Interior on here looks absolutely insane. Get a little bit of a sunroof, and I love these new car smells. Love them. One of the few things that we have before wrapping up this show is a Mach 1 Mustang. Now, I'm not entirely sure the model year and everything. Looks like it does have a 351 small block in it. I believe this might be a 1970. This might be a 1970, but nevertheless, love it. Just like that, guys, thank you for joining me for this video. I think that we saw a lot of cool stuff out here today. It definitely wasn't as much as I was thinking they were probably going to end up having here. Nevertheless, we saw a lot of cool stuff. The only downside about Expos, especially in today's day and age, is that manufacturers are moving away from all the stuff that we know and love as car guys. They're moving away from it so bad. So a lot of the stuff that was in there was a lot of EV stuff, a lot of, you know, family vehicles, whatever the case is. Not a whole lot of like car people stuff. That's something that you just gonna have to end up coming to grips with. But just like that, guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe down below. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.